Welcome back to BST, everybody. It's been a while, but what a episode to come back to. If you have watched the channel throughout this journey, obviously NFL's heating up, and we had a massive trade today, especially as Packers fans. Huge trade. I mean, this has got to be one of the biggest trades of all time. Just in terms of magnitude of player being traded, I can't think of one really. I think a lot of people have been comparing it to the Khalil Mack trade, but Micah Parsons, three-time All-Pro edge rusher / linebacker, is on his way to Green Bay, Wisconsin, Titletown, in exchange for Kenny Clark and 2 first-round picks.
And a boatload of cash.
No cash. And you're saying Parsons got the cash?
Yeah. No.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, Parsons got a huge bag from the Packers. But I think we should just start off by saying this is an insane move that I never thought the Packers would make.
I think you're conditioned as a Packer fan to think all these types of moves are insane because we never do them.
No.
And that
it's crazy.
We're the responsible franchise.
Yeah.
Don't spend too much.
Well,
Save your money.
We definitely don't. But I think the thing is we spend on what we spend wisely, I would say. So oftentimes I trust the Packers when they spend their money because I know most of the time it's spent well. And I'm trusting it here. And honestly, I don't even care about the price tag. The Packers are acquiring like I said, 3-time All-Pro. I think I saw a stat. He's the first player to go to the Pro Bowl in his first 4 seasons and start for another team in his 5th. So, I mean, we are in uncharted ground here. A player like this should not be on the trade block whatsoever. We'll get to the Cowboys in a minute.
Yeah.
How that whole situation went, just a disaster. But for the Packers to pounce on this opportunity is out of character. It is insane that I'm still shocked. It happened like 4 or 5 hours ago, and I am still shocked that this went down because it is just that. Ask any Packers fan, it is that shocking that Brian Gutekunst, Matt LaFleur, Ed Policy, the whole group over there went through with this and traded away Kenny Clark, who has been a valued member of this franchise for over 10 years, longest tenured Packer. Actually, funny enough, a Ted Thompson pick. So Ted Thompson helping out Brian Gutekunst with this one, sort of, kind of. And we got Micah Parsons. Just crazy to say. Any more thoughts from a Packers perspective? Or I guess just your feelings?
I mean, I was still pretty young to really, take it in when they signed Reggie White in free agency, which was a huge move at the time. But it was very different, too, because you got a Reggie White who was kind of in the
twilight,
past the prime, still really good, but not in his prime. And getting Micah Parsons,
this is uncharted.
I've spent 4 years hating Micah Parsons and the Cowboys. So it's kind of weird for me because I initially thought when I heard the rumor he doesn't fit in Green Bay, just from a culture perspective. I felt like with his podcasting, maybe he'd be a distraction, but then again, that's just, I think, how we're conditioned to think about as Packer fans. We're conservative. We trade for Favre. We trade for, some of these big name players. Is what we've always done, but everything else is draft and develop.
Yep, draft and develop, big time.
I was getting tired as a Packer fan of watching them just, almost blow fourth quarter leads and can't get off the field when you need. And it's like, Parsons is going to be that difference maker to help you get off the field, or at
100%.
least he should.
100%.
Everything else, everybody, they're going to go crazy about this. Oh, Packers vault to 5th in the odds for the Super Bowl.
They're
whatever.
6th, actually.
The way that I look at this is we've pulled even again within the division with with Detroit, with Minnesota, the Bears making moves. It just felt like the last few years, everybody else in our division was making moves except Green Bay. Finally, we make a move to pull even, and now we'll see.
I felt especially these past few years, acquiring Jacobs, acquiring McKinney, now Parsons, we're really ramping it up. And I mean, if you look, I've always thought this, like the keys to having a good team, you need a tackle, like a good tackle, which Packers have in Zach Tom. You need the quarterback, obviously. I'm hoping Jordan Love. And speaking of Jordan Love, I mean, talk about the pressure. It is almost entirely on him at this point. I mean, it was on him, but now the defense should be top 5 at the very least, and should sack the quarterback a lot, should get turnovers. The defense should not be a problem this year. So for Jordan Love, he has to step up. But you got to have the quarterback, you got to have the tackle, or that good offensive lineman. I think the Packers have both of those. And you got to have a good weapon on offense. I'm hoping Matthew Golden can be that. We already have Josh Jacobs who can fill that role. Tucker Kraft. We got a lot of playmakers on offense. But the thing the Packers have missed forever, and honestly, Clay Matthews was close. Zadarius Smith for years was close, but I mean, Micah Parsons is on course to be a Hall of Famer.
Just think of this. I mean, I understand what the division foes are feeling. Like, nobody loves this. It'd be exactly how we'd feel if the Bears signed him, the Lions, 100%, the Vikings.
Yeah, it'd be horrible.
You know, when anybody like this type, especially if it's Detroit, because how could you get Hutchinson and Parsons?
Oh God!
But think of, I mean, I think of when you're the Bears, you're Caleb Williams right now. You're gonna face 3 teams in the division. You got two pretty good edge rushers in Minnesota.
Yeah.
You've got Hutchinson in Detroit, and now you got Micah Parsons in Green Bay.
That's brutal.
I mean, that's a tough gauntlet. And you know, I'm still a little shocked. I never thought. I told you you're full of shit when you said 2 days ago
I've been on this.
That this was gonna happen. I was like, it's not gonna happen. I mean, the back of your mind, you're going, it's Jerry Jones. Anything can happen.
Anything can.
But I'm naturally more pessimistic on the Packers.
Just something that I know a lot of Packers fans have been saying. Oh, well, the Packers were in the talks. The Packers were in the talks.
Well,
that's what happens every time.
We lost Khalil Mack because the Raiders, right?
Yep.
The Raiders sat back and went, they had the offers from the Bears and the Packers, the exact same offer, basically.
I think Bears,
they felt like the Bears picks would be better.
Yeah.
So they chipped him there. So I kept thinking, like, okay, you're gonna have to send first rounders to Dallas, but is Dallas gonna think, well, without Parsons, you're still a playoff team. Those picks are gonna be at best 23rd, 24th, or at best 19. Is that worth it for Parsons, or does somebody swoop in and go, oh yeah, they've been struggling, we're gonna get a top 10 pick with that, So that's what I kept thinking, is that there's no way Green Bay is gonna do it, or Green Bay is gonna offer it. There's no way Dallas is gonna accept it. I didn't think they'd send him in NFC, and especially to a team that they're playing this year. I mean, a month from today he goes back to Dallas.
Yeah.
And it's just, and especially with the Packers, the way that this has gone recently, I just thought
it's wild.
No way that they would give it to Green Bay.
It is absolutely wild. It feels like a fever dream, and every Packers fan, I mean, go watch Tom Grossi. I love Tom Grossi. Good dude. He and some of his buddies, they do like a show, and you should go watch his reaction, because they literally start the live stream, and like 15 to 30 seconds into the live stream, the news gets broken right there. You should go watch his live reaction. Pat McAfee show. I'm blanking on the guy's name. Ty. Go watch his reaction. He's another Packers fan. Just, I mean, pure jubilation, because this is a position, just a closer on defense that we have needed for so long.
The Ed Policy era as the quote unquote owner of the the
President.
figurehead that other owners would play this role, right? But with the Packers being publicly owned or whatever, Ed Policy, the new president, replacing Mark Murphy, been with the organization for a number of years. Clearly wanted to make a splash here. So
that he did.
And Gutekunst, I think Goody felt like, I think it still burned him a little bit that he didn't get Khalil Mack 7 years ago. And I just think, I think the feedback's going to be against the Packers on this is, wow, you paid him a lot of money. You made him the highest non-quarterback.
That's fair.
Highest paid non-quarterback player ever. You gave up 2 first-rounders and you gave up a player for him. But honestly, out of all the players, no disrespect to Kenny Clark, he would have been on the top of my list of ones I'd be like, yeah, I'm fine with him leaving, because he probably had maybe 1 or 2 years left.
Well, yeah.
2 years left anyway. So, but that's going to be the biggest. But those are the moves you have to make. And we've watched Kansas City make moves that have just kept them where you feel like, oh, they're mortgaging and everything. I mean, there's so much creativity they can do with the salary cap that, the way that the fact that the Packers try to build through the draft really gave them the ability to pull this off, because they don't have 50% of their salary with Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb,
Well, I think that's been one of the Packers' philosophies, especially as receiver. You can find receivers in the draft. So we're not going to, if they're top of the market guys like Devontae or Jordy, they'll pay them. But I think that saved them a little bit, because they're not paying $45 million to CeeDee Lamb or like Jamar Chase. But overall, you look at the Packers now, you lose Kenny Clark. It sucks. Like you were saying, Kenny Clark, I've heard multiple times on multiple different podcasts that cover the Packers, Kenny Clark is a prime cut candidate for this next offseason. That's how the Packers do business. They make these contracts so they have, it may look like a 3-4 year deal, but in year 2, year 3, there's a way out of it. And they can cut them, and they can take a small penalty or even gain cap space, but it doesn't affect much. And there's definitely that in Kenny Clark's deal. So if this is a player, and I'm sure internally that they were thinking of cutting next offseason, regardless of this trade and what went down here, they're like, well, if the Cowboys, we heard from Jerry Jones just shortly that they were looking. They narrowed down their search to a team that could fit Parsons' new extension and had a good interior defensive lineman that they could pick up in the trade. The Packers landed on that list.
Yeah.
To them, Kenny Clark is a good player, Pro Bowler, and he plays defensive tackle well. He can stop the run. But if this is a player the Packers were willing to cut, you throw him in the trade with 2 firsts that, if everything goes well, are going to be late firsts. So basically, like high seconds for a generational pass rusher that is on track to be a Hall of Famer. That's a no-brainer.
Well, let's just address. It's not the elephant in the room, but I like that quote anyway, and I'm going to use it. The problem in all this is Jerry Jones.
Yeah.
Jerry's mismanagement for the past 20 years, it seems, is why Micah Parsons is gone. You mentioned something earlier, and I don't know if you said it on the podcast or you told me separately, but for first player to be in a Pro Bowl for 4 years and get traded, right?
Yep.
Right? He's in his 5th year now.
Yep.
This is his 5th year. You let a generational edge rusher, like pass rusher, go. You traded him because you mismanaged Dak's contract negotiation twice, and you mismanaged CeeDee Lamb. You mismanaged this entire process, which if he would have done a better job, I think he could have made it work for all 3.
He's always overpaid on his players because he waits to, and this is the problem with Jerry.
He could have got Dak like $20 million cheaper.
That's the thing. He wants the Cowboys to be in the spotlight because he's a businessman at the end of the day. I think he really cares for the Cowboys, but he also really cares about making money. And if his Cowboys are in the spotlight, he's making money. So he waits, and it'd be around this time when he would sign Micah. But like you said with CD, he waited, and he waited a little bit too long and paid him more money than he needed to. Same with Dak.
He cares more about making money than winning.
The thing about Dak that I will say is when you have a quarterback, it kind of forces your hand because it'd be hard to replace Dak at the end of the day.
But he could have gotten it done.
I agree, and
not for $65 million or whatever.
Yeah, Dak should not be the highest paid player in the NFL. The thing about Parsons specifically is, in the past, it hasn't been a problem with the relationships. It's just been a problem with Jerry waiting too long. This was obviously a problem with relationships. Something went wrong. It sounds as if Micah did not appreciate Jerry trying to negotiate with him face to face with a handshake. That was like a common quote a month or so ago. And I get it. Like, that's kind of weird for Jerry to approach a player face to face and not go through the agent. And it sounds like Jerry originally thought that they had reached an agreement on a deal. And once the agent contacted them, it was more or less, or the years were different or something like that. So there was a rift there and things just didn't work out. And then I think Jerry kind of got butthurt a little bit, thinking, oh, wow, Micah just went behind my back, and when this whole deal that we had is off the table now.
Well, yeah.
And I think that's just where it all went wrong, and Jerry didn't want to adapt. And I think Micah, honestly, was just like, I'm done with this. Like, get me out of here.
You're talking about a GM who fired Jimmy Johnson after back-to-back Super Bowls.
Completely ridiculous.
Because Jimmy Johnson was getting more credit for the Super Bowls than Jerry was.
It's like, what?
It's insane. It's like Jerry cares about Jerry. I feel like I do think he
cares about Jerry.
He cares about the team. He does care about the Cowboys,
but it's an extension of him.
It's all him though.
Yeah, it's not the Cowboys.
Yeah, it's not that he cares for others necessarily at all. In that, I mean, it's Jerry first, Jerry second, Jerry third, and lumped into all of that is the Dallas Cowboys.
Mm-hmm.
And everything incorporated in that. And he wants the credit. He wants the praise. His introductory press conference in, 1989 when they hired him, like, what's next for you? And he points to the existing GM, I want your job. And it's like, okay, so, pretty tough to make any changes when you can't fire yourself.
Yeah.
And you should have.
I agree.
It's just incredible. I mean, for me, I love it because I laugh a lot at the Cowboys' expense. I have a lot of pretty good friends that are Cowboys fans. I mean, my hat's off to you for sticking with it, but this has got to be just gut-wrenching and, I mean, just frustrating to just see this stuff happen. And, the Cowboys have made big signings, big moves themselves over the years. They've had great stuff, but this drought that they're, playoff drought and Super Bowl drought is just really, I mean, I don't know when there's going to be an end because they're not making the playoffs this year.
Yeah, well, that's kind of the interesting thing, too. In Jerry's press conference that he just did about this trade, for some reason, he thinks this makes them better. And, like, no disrespect to Kenny Clark. Obviously, I love Kenny Clark. You're not Micah Parsons. And Jerry mentioned multiple times that they need to stop the run, which is true. Their run defense has been poor. That's how the Packers really killed them in that wild card game. Obviously through the air, but the running game was an extension of that and helped them on play action. And I get it. Like, you got to stop the run, but I mean, I don't think adding Kenny Clark is going to completely do that. And I don't think getting rid of a generational pass rusher to focus on stopping the run is the right choice either. And that just seems ridiculous to me. Like, Jerry just isn't really making a lot of sense right now. And I think that's the answer that he wants us to believe is the right answer. And I believe he got a little butthurt, like I said, and he just wanted to trade him after that.
And everybody lies to the media, right? I mean,
I don't blame him.
He's they ask you questions, and if you evade, then they say, "Oh, it's probably happening because you didn't deny it." So of course he'd been out in the media saying, "Absolutely not trading Micah Parsons. It's not happening." All the coaches were saying, "Oh no, we expect him back." And maybe they did, and it might have come together pretty fast. When it was all said and done, I'm sure the offer was there for a while, and they were just kind of not choosing not to respond, or said they're thinking about it or something.
Yeah.
But it's like shame on Jerry Jones for letting it get to that, because you just
Horrible
you cannot
mismanagement.
let a guy like that go.
No.
Or not that you let him. You can't trade him. You traded
Once in a
him.
generation kind of guy.
Honestly, you could have solidified a contract for him. You could have franchise tagged him, but it sounds like, maybe Micah Parsons was gonna hedge on them calling his bluff that his back hurts. I guarantee in a couple days we're gonna hear he's fine.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's the interesting thing. He was willing to get a second opinion. So I don't really know about the whole back thing. I just think it's so crazy to me that that he let this happen. Like, I don't think there's been worse mismanagement of I mean, he's a Hall of Famer. Like, he's on track to be a Hall of Famer.
I mean, these are moves that get GMs fired.
Absolutely. Like, absolutely. Like,
and
this,
if a GM did this move, that owner is firing that GM.
Yeah, 100%.
That trades away Micah Parsons. Yeah.
I also,
it's like Saquon Barkley. Like, you let him go.
Yeah,
it's
that's
didn't that lose the GM's job?
The only thing about that to me though is, like, obviously things. I think it's a little bit different with a running back. But it was a bad idea by Joe Shane and the Giants. But just this one especially, you didn't have to trade him. It's not like he didn't have a contract and didn't have money to play for. He still had one more year.
Was he really going to just sit out the whole season?
He's making like $20 million this year with a 5th-year option.
I think he would have reported. I think he would have. I don't think he would have sat out the season, because you see what that does to players that do that.
It's never a good idea.
They're never the same. So I think he would have shown, but I think it indicates that it was more of a rift between Jerry and
it had
Parsons
to have been
than we knew.
Just crazy.
Anyone's knowing.
But yeah, the Packers pounce on such an opportunity. One more thing about the Jerry press conference. He mentioned how this trade was going to help them get 4 or 5 different players, Pro Bowlers, he said, I believe. And I don't really see how that's a reality here. Like, we already got one in Kenny Clark, I guess, but he's saying this trade will allow them to. I don't really see that happening personally. Yeah, right. Like,
Pro Bowlers,
I guess. But you're most certainly not going to find another Micah Parsons in the later round or later part of the first round, most likely. I'm not sure there's a player like Micah Parsons that exists. Similar to him is Abdul Carter of the Giants, but like a linebacker like an off-ball linebacker who has moved and can rush the passer like that, very rare. A guy who can move like him.
And for Green Bay,
very rare.
You gave away Kenny Clark, who didn't really bring much in the way of pressure.
No.
More of a middle blocker. And you're able to move Van Ness, who struggles on the edge, but up the middle could maybe be he's a younger replacement, athletic.
I think Jeff Hafley is going to have
beast.
Yeah, he's going to have some.
You're going to have some of these guys shifting, and really it allows Parsons. He's going to attack from all different sides.
I've seen a bunch of Packers fans saying, like, the possibilities to have Edgerrin Cooper and Micah Parsons line up all over the field is crazy.
Oh yeah,
because I mean, Micah Parsons can play off ball linebacker.
I mean, you got Micah Parsons, and you didn't have to give away Gary, Quay Walker, Edgerrin Cooper, Van Ness. I mean,
the possibilities of this group are endless.
That's why I say you give away Kenny Clark. I'm like, Kenny's been solid, but. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, and he's like the oldest player on the team.
Yeah. I think the Packers, as soon as the Cowboys were like, we want Kenny, I think that's when they knew we're going to heavily pursue this. I think if they asked for Van Ness or somebody else, they would have I still would have done it, but I don't know about the Packers. They're very, very particular about their roster moves, but it's just crazy, man. This stat right here. Micah Parsons is one of 2 NFL players to have at least 12 sacks in each of his first 4 seasons. The other is Reggie White. Crazy. And both of them are Packers.
Ugh.
And for the Cowboys, I think the other thing that puzzles me as we speak about Kenny Clark is that feels like an addition to a team that wants to win now. Because, Kenny, you don't know how long he has left playing at a high level.
Yeah.
There's a real possibility that he plays like 2 seasons in Dallas or gets cut next offseason. And you're kind of like, well, was that worth? And
yeah,
the Cowboys haven't drafted the greatest in the first round. So I think there's a very real possibility this trade looks like an utter disaster.
Do you think, okay, if you're the, I won't say you're Jerry, but if you're the GM making this trade for Dallas, would you want Kenny Clark and 2 first rounders, or would you just ask for 3 first rounders? Because you can only do 3. That's the maximum future.
Because you can only trade out 3 years.
Would you have said, would you have said, I want 3 first round picks?
Probably.
And over Kenny Clark.
I don't know. I think I don't see the roster like Jerry does, obviously. He thinks they can win now. I don't see it. I think their offense is going to be good.
And I don't think Dallas is going to be
they're not going to be bad.
They're going to be 500.
I just don't understand how you get rid of Micah Parsons and you get better.
No, you don't. You don't. That's a stupid comment. And honestly, it doesn't change it too much in terms of where I have Dallas finishing anyway. I still had them 3rd best in their division. I think Giants are better than what their record will show. They just have a really tough first 8 games.
Yeah, fair.
So I think that will put, Dallas in 3rd. I think Dallas ultimately, they're fighting the Giants for the 3rd best team in their division.
Yeah.
And so they're even with Parsons, I didn't think they were going to compete very well against Commanders and the Eagles. So it doesn't really change it a lot, but they definitely didn't get better.
No, absolutely not. Yeah. And for the Packers now, like I said earlier, they vault to 6th in Super Bowl odds, just behind the Lions. It's going to be interesting. I don't really know.
Who's number 1?
Number 1.
Eagles, right?
Ravens
are number 1. Oh,
which is kind of crazy. The Super Bowl champs are 3rd in Super Bowl odds.
Wow.
Tied with the Bills for number 2, really. But, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how the Packers do this season. I'm not getting my hopes up yet because they still got to go out there and prove it. Anything on paper looks good.
Here's the good thing. If they don't win the Super Bowl this year, oh well, you still have Micah Parsons next year.
That's the thing.
Like it's like, okay, Golden's a rookie. So you're asking a rookie to vault and be kind of a go-to guy. You don't know when Watson's coming back and what he'll be like. There's a lot of uncertainty at the receiver position. They led the league in drops, so there's a lot, and Jordan Love didn't have a great year because he was mostly hobbled throughout the year. He fought injury most of the year. So if Love can stay healthy, they didn't show me anything in preseason that I have any idea what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So, but I feel a lot better that they can get some pressure on Jared Goff in week 1.
I hope so.
Because I had that one kind of as an L because I felt like Detroit was going to be.
It definitely
tough.
evens the playing field a little bit because if you look at those rosters, you both got the premier edge rusher now with Hutchinson and Parsons. You both got that really good safety with McKinney and Joseph. I'd say the Lions have better corners. That's a one spot I'm really worried about with the Packers. I'd say linebackers are pretty on par with Cooper, and they got some guys over there. Lines are close, like the O-line. Well, it's close.
I think a lot of the corners in Detroit, though, they've benefited from a Hutchinson.
Fair.
The corners.
It does help with
that. They do have better corners, no doubt. But I think the corners for Green Bay, that like Parsons' presence is going to help that. It's going to hopefully there's going to be pressure on the quarterback helping out the secondary. And that's what you need. And I think that's what we've been balanced. We've been off balance. We've tried to build with like shut down corners that can handle one-on-one coverage, and they never can because they just can't guard for 5 seconds, and so we put a lot of heat on our corners because they're never there to make the play. But then you look at it and you're like, Well, yeah, Kirk Cousins sat back there for 5 seconds and found Justin
Well,
Jefferson across
that's
the
always
middle,
been my
so
it's always
there's
been
just
my
no pressure.
philosophy.
There's no pressure.
It's the
Yeah.
same thing on the offense. If your line sucks, there's going to
Yeah.
be no time for the quarterback,
Exactly.
and you can't block for the running back.
Yeah.
And if your D line can't get any pressure,
Yeah.
they're just going to pick you apart.
Yeah.
So I think really building in those two spots is good. The Packers have built their offensive line. They've always been good at doing that. And now they get Parsons, which is just a player that, let's face it, they were never going to be able to draft.
No.
And this is a player that would have never been able to hit free agency. And this was a player that never should have hit the trade block.
Yep.
So you got to pounce on this opportunity and take it. And I've seen Parsons. He posted a video of him jumping around at his home. So I'm excited that he is excited to be in Green Bay. And before we end the episode, I want to shout out a special person, Ricky Scoops on X/Twitter. This guy called the trade first off on August 26th. It is currently August 28th. He called it all the way back then. And this guy's just been on heater. And apparently he's retiring now, so that's kind of sad. But shout out to Ricky Scoops. Nobody knows who he is. But this guy just calls like things before they happen.
Do you think
in
he's
NFL.
really retiring or is just kidding?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what's happening with him, but I just wanted to shout him out because this guy's been on an insane run this offseason, calling trades, transactions, signings, all those stuff before they happen. And he called this trade as well. But yeah, let us know down in the comments what you think of this trade. I don't even know if I went over the contract fully. We'll just go over the contract real quick. 4 years, $188 million, $47 million a year, which is a lot. But to me, I don't care.
Mm.
I don't. Like, it's a lot of money, but there's so many things the Packers can do if this really goes downhill to, like, move money to make it work. I don't think it's going to go downhill. I think he's going to be worth it. And, I mean, if you look at, like, who are like edge rushers who need contracts, and I bet that contract, like Will Anderson's going to be coming up soon. I don't even know if I'm able to find this in time, but there's going to be guys coming up here soon that are going to need contracts anyway, and I think it's just going to be a situation that this contract gets buried. Like, literally, Myles Garrett and TJ Watt just signed contracts, and they're already second and third. So, like, these contracts get buried over time. They set the new mark. The next guy, Will Anderson, probably. Some other guys are in there. I can't really think of any at the moment. Are going to get higher contracts than that by AAV, and it's going to be fine. And $136 million guaranteed. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out, and hopefully the Packers can finally bring a Lombardi back home with Micah Parsons and Jordan Love and the crew. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Let us know down in the comments what you think of this trade, who won, who lost. I think it's pretty obvious who won. Actually, before we end, give me a grade for both sides.
Oh, I mean, it's going to be biased because
But like, think of it from like a face value. If the Cowboys traded him to like the Raiders or something.
Oh, I mean, yeah, I think anybody that gets him has got to be between a to a B plus.
Right.
I mean,
I feel like
A to a B plus. I mean, you could probably go B plus just because of the money and the picks, but when you're borderline playoff team, or when you're a playoff team and borderline deeper run potential, the first round picks are, there's the argument, are you getting the same value lower first, middle, second round? I mean, is there really a disparity between that athlete? I think the Packers have always drafted well, so they've had a lot of good players in the second, third, fourth round.
Yeah, they draft a lot better in those rounds, really.
Yeah, we've shied away from first round picks. Our first round picks have never been very good.
Yeah.
So for that, I say A, but I could see people saying B plus.
Yeah.
But for Dallas, I mean,
has to be an F.
It's an F.
D maybe.
The highest a D. It's just
I thought the haul wasn't bad. It's just the context makes it just absolutely horrible.
And maybe we're going to be eating crow here in a couple years, and we'll be like, oh, he's a huge distraction or whatever. But that whole organization in Dallas is a distraction. So there's just no excuse for that, that it got this far. And I understand these guys, but these rookie contracts come up and they're like, we want to get paid now. But he played 4 years and he was a Pro Bowler, at least 12 sacks every year. So, I mean, if there was ever a claim that he probably needed to get paid earlier, it was this. And, and I think Jerry just mismanaged it. Big shock. He mismanaged it. And so I give him an F.
Yeah. And I'd like to say I'm sorry, Cowboys fans. You don't deserve this. I was actually mentioning this to somebody earlier. Do you imagine telling a Dallas fan, say they're a Mavericks fan and a Cowboys fan, that Luka would be a Laker and Micah would be a Packer like 2 years ago?
Nah.
Like showing them a picture of
Nobody'd believe it.
They would have lost their mind.
There's no way.
Like, what a horrible little while it's been for Dallas fans. I mean, you had the Stars losing in the playoffs. Luka gets traded. I mean, they did get Cooper Flagg, so that's a little bit of a cushion. And then now Micah gets traded. And then you still have to deal with Jerry Jones, which is just the cherry on top.
Hopefully this signifies the retirement of Jerry Jones.
A lot of people are saying that. This could be the wind down for him. It's just like he's winding down. But I heard Stephen Jones is even worse. Stephen Jones is actually the mastermind behind a lot of the things that we blame Jerry for, I found out. And a lot of Cowboys fans actually hate Stephen Jones more than Jerry Jones.
Oh, boy.
So they are screwed for the next 100 years because whoever Stephen Jones's son is or whatever, it's over. So
somebody in the Jones family needs to put an end to it and just hire a GM.
Gotta feel bad for Cowboys
fans.
Owner.
Just be an owner.
Hey, Skip Bayless. He must have got a pretty good check from Jerry Jones for saying all the nice things that he said about him recently. It's crazy, but yeah.
Break.
Thank you so much for watching. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, all those things. Check out TikTok. It's greatly appreciated. And we'll be talking more NFL soon to come. We'll come out with a prediction episode before the season starts for sure. So thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.